Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Marincess Yugioh deck profile for post the April 2025 ban list. I know a lot of people requested that I update this deck since the banning of Bahamut Shark. I kind of let it just, get past me with updating it, but Marincess is one of my favorite Cyberse decks, so once again I do apologize for the late video of uploading the changes I've made to the deck. Since we no longer have Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome to act as an additional engine, I would say the deck definitely did take a hit on what you could do versatility wise for that final Omni negate against your opponent, but still a very, very fun setup deck. And with that newer support we got from Maze of the Masters, it definitely does help for consistency also. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Marincess monsters, we run 3 copies of Marincess Seahorse. Being able to special summon this card from your hand to a zone a Marincess Link monster points to. You can only summon it once this way during a turn, and during main phase, except a turn was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from your graveyard to special summon a water monster from your hand to a zone a Marincess Link monster points to. Giving you a special summon option on top of it makes this card a 1-card Link 2 option, because then you can just summon out your Seahorse off of a normal summon, Link 1 into your Blue Slug, use Blue Slug to add it back to your hand, and then summon it to the arrow for Blue Slug, and then have your Link 2 right there. So a great starter additionally for that play. Another great one is Blue Tang, which we're also running 3 copies of. When it's normal or special summon, you can send a Marincess monster from your deck to the graveyard. Seahorse also being one of those ones, just to be able to add back again. And then if it's used for the link summon of a water monster, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and add 1 excavated Marincess card from among them and add to your hand and shuffle the rest into the deck. Search power on top of graveyard setup power is very useful since you can use each effect once per turn. So you have more and more search and setup thanks to this one card as well. We're also running 3 copies of Trickstar Aqua Angel. This is the newest monster for the deck. It's always treated as a Marincess card, so you can add it off of your other cards as well. And link monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by, or monsters that point to this card. It's not a link monster itself. So it protects your bigger monsters, especially cards like Aqua Argonaut, where it makes it so your opponent can only attack this monster. Added protection if it's pointing to Aqua Angel. And then you can only use this of each of the following effects of Aqua Angel once per duel. If you control a Trickstar Marincess monster, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. If sent to the graveyard as link material, you can look at all the cards in your opponent's hand and all set cards they control. So this gives you more of an option to look at your opponent's cards, but also just an additional special summon. I've been mixing around numbers of how many I want to run of this card, mixing in maybe some additional copies of Signet Mining to search out the other cards. But I would say the biggest weakness for this card in using Signet Mining is obviously for the fact that this is a fairy card. It may still count as a Marincess card, but being a Trickstar card, a fairy card initially, so you can't really search it off of cards like, our Signet Mining. So you want to be able to rely on it with the 3 of search of just being able to open it up or send it and set it up with some of your other cards. We're also running 3 copies of Marincess Spring Girl, having the burn damage option when it's sent to the graveyard as a link material, and being able to banish a Marincess monster from your graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. And what's great is then you can use those banished Marincess monsters in tandem with some of our bigger links, like our Marincess Great Bubble Reef for added special summon for the ones that we banished off of Spring Girl. Our lower numbers include the 2 copies of Pascalis. This was one of our best cards to go into the Bahamut Shark play, but sadly, since we don't have that play, it's just more of a link monster extension since we can just summon out a monster from our hand and then also use it for an additional banish play to target a Marincess power trap in our graveyard and add it back to our hand, adding some of our lower number cards like our Marincess Dive back to our hand or our one of Marincess Wave using this card also. And 2 copies of Marincess Mandarin. If you control 2 more Marincess monsters while this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can target a water link monster you control, special summon this card to a zone that monster points to, but banish it when it leaves the field. Setting up more banished Marincess monsters obviously with this play, but just an easy special summon onto the field as well using this monster, with our last Marincess being the 1 copy of Marincess Basilima. If a monster you control destroy a battle or destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can use each of the following effects of Basilima once per turn. You can banish 1 Marincess trap from your graveyard to add 1 Marincess trap, or if it's banished, you can target a face monster you control and it gains 600 attack. You're mostly going to use it for the 600 banish, because then on top of that you'll have its own banish play for protection for your Marincess cards. With the rest of the main deck monsters just being the hand trap lineup, I have 2 Ghost Mourner, 3 Nibiru, and then the 3 Ash Blossom for the spots in this deck. If you wanted to run Foolos, you could always drop down 1 copy of the Nibiru and the 2 copies of Ghost Mourner for 3 copies of the Mulch Army hand trap spot. For our spells, we're running 2 copies of Marincess Dive. You activate one of the following effects for the rest of this turn. After this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except for water monsters, which is really not a problem because our entire extra deck is water aside from one monster. So being able to summon out our monsters, targeting a non-link Marincess monster in your graveyard, special summon it, or if Battle Ocean's on the field, special summon one Marincess monster from your deck, grabbing any of those other resources we mentioned once before. The 1 copy of Battle Ocean, we only run the 1 because it can be searched off of Sea Angel, being able to add a Marincess spell from our deck to our hand. And this card just helps with being able to equip our other Marincess Link monsters onto our additional Marincess monsters as well for that setup of bigger power to those cards also. The 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, I like this card for how easy we can get cards on the field to use against our opponent and then have those resources be sent by sending the cards that were equipped thanks to Battle Ocean off to the graveyard to then stop our opponent's monster effects. 2 copies of Potted Desires, because there's plenty of 3-ofs in the deck as well. And another one of my justifications for why I run the 3 Aqua Angel, because then if we have the Desire Search, some of the hits we can get with this card can at least still make the deck playable for what we can use, with the rest of these spells being 2 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust, and then the 1 Talents as well to finish off the spell lineup. For the traps, 1 copy of Marincess Wave. We only run the 1 copy because it can be searched off of our Coral Triangle with the option to send a water monster from our hand to the graveyard to add a Marincess trap from our deck to our hand. Wave acts as basically an impermanence, being able to activate if we control a Link 3-hour Marincess monster from our hand to the field, and then stopping that monster and then protecting our other monsters as well with this card. And then the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence on top of the other hand traps that we run in the deck also. For the extra deck, we're running 2 copies of Marincess Sea Angel. This is the Searcher when it's Link Summoned to add a Marincess spell from our deck to our hand. The more spells we potentially get, the stronger Sea Angel can also get, because it just makes more and more searches for us to be able to use with this card. 2 copies of Blue Slug for the add back power of our Marincess card from the graveyard, with our Link 3s being 1 Marbled Rock and 1 Coral Triangle, the Trap Search, and then the Banish option to special summon more Link monsters from the graveyard back onto the field. Marble Rock for the add back power and the protection by sending Marincess cards from our hand to the graveyard. 2 Coral Anemone for the special summon power to a zone this card points to, and then the search power when it's sent from the field to the graveyard for a Marincess card in the graveyard. The 1 Aqua Argonaut, and then the 1 Bubble Reef for the draw special summon power of Bubble Reef, and then the spell and trap negation along with power and protection boost of Aqua Argonaut, with some more of our generics being the 1 Splash Mage, the 1 Area of the Water Charmer, the 1 Haggard Lizardos, and the 1 Zelantis, with our only non-water Link monster being the SP Little Knight. It pops up every now and then just for an additional banish play to use against our opponent when we're not restricted to our water monster only plays as well. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, I would say some of the best ones rely on the Seahorse play. As I mentioned before, you could just use the 1-card combo of Seahorse. Normal summoning this card out, going for a Link play into our Blue Slug, then using Blue Slug to add back the Seahorse, summoning Seahorse off of its own effect to the Link Arrow, using them for a Link 2 to then be able to go into our Marincess, Coral Anemone, and then being able to use the effect of an enemy to summon back our Seahorse to the field as well, going for an additional play from here into our Link 3 monster. So with this, we can go into our Coral Triangle, using the effect of an enemy to add the Seahorse back to our hand, then using the effect of Coral Triangle to discard the Seahorse again to give us our 1-of trap, being the Marincess Wave, to our hand. If we go first, we have 5 cards in hand. We just used 1 of those cards to set up this combo on the field here and have this additional card in our hand on top of everything else. Depending on what else is in our hand with that initial play, we could have some initial plays to even go for the Mandarin Search, set up the Pascalis first with the Seahorse to give us 1 additional monster on the field to go for a Link 4 play, or when we have 2 monsters on the field thanks to an enemy, summon out the Mandarin by then using that additional monster for that play as well. But the other most important play, if you're just going off of that 1 play, when you summon out your Blue Slug and you summon out your Seahorse, go for the 1 additional Link summon of your other Link 1 monster for that play, because then you can summon out Sea Angel and then use Sea Angel on top of the Trap Search we did before to give you your field spell or your dive to your hand for extending those plays also, because when you activate your Battle Ocean and then go for that Link 2 play we mentioned before, not only do you get your monster on the field, but then you get the Battle Ocean effect to equip all those monsters onto that monster as well, which can then in turn help with those monsters you equip onto it as additional cards to send off of cards like Forbidden Droplet if that's in our hand also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. And once again, I know we had some big changes with the April ban list for this deck with Bahamut Shark, but still very playable, just missing one of the Omni Negate plays to be able to go into in the deck. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.